Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another big old batch of comic book reviews. These are new comic book reviews, meaning they are on the shelf at the time of this recording. And as always, I do a Marvel, a DC, and independent comic book, sometimes throw in a bonus. This time we have a bonus DC comic in the name of Aquaman. We have an independent book called Kids, and a Marvel comic called The Falcon and Winter Soldier, as well as That Strange Adventures. So let's get this party started. As usual, I start off with the covers, and I've got to say, at least the variant cover kind of tells a story along with the regular, which is just to say on one, it's very clean cut, and the other, you have all the graffiti and everything showing that he's a fallen hero within the story. And, of course, we find out it's a Tom King story. Well, you knew that before going in, and that just tells you that we're going to get a whole bunch of Tom King therapy session going on in this one. Actually, the book is telling two different stories from two different time periods, really, if you think about it, with the Silver Age and even a little bit of the Bronze Age, where it's a little more brightly colored, everything's going his way, things are coming up roses. And then you've got the modern day story where he's come back to Earth and he's got a book deal and he's signing books and everybody's praising him for a while, but then something happens and then they look at him and they start tearing him down. So here you have the comic trying to work on two levels. Of course, it's telling the tale of two different time periods in comic book history and how we see the comic book heroes ourselves, as well as, say, maybe even some things that Tom King had to go through. He was riding high on life. Everything was going well for him. People thought he was freaking brilliant on Batman. All of a sudden, he screws up with the wedding, and then everybody hates him. And you can see the parallels here in this story. It's predictable for Tom King to kind of air his grievances on the page. He does that quite a bit. That's part of what is turning a lot of people off of him. This, I actually think it's done well. If you're not looking for that particular story, you're not going to find it. You're not going to see that Adam Strange is actually Tom King and he's talking as much about us than to us about what's going on. You might not see that. I did. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't think I am. As it stands, I guess it's a good story on its own as well, even if you don't get those parallels, or maybe if you don't get them, you're actually going to enjoy it a little bit better than I did. I gotta say it, I can recommend this one. So far, so good. Now, Tom King, though, has a way of starting off strong and finishing weak. Fingers crossed he could keep it up the whole way through. Next up, we're going to talk about an independent movie. Gosh, why do I keep wanting to say independent movie? An independent comic book called Kids. And yes, I do notice they're steering into the Goonies while not actually being as good as the Goonies in any way, shape, or form. It took me a little bit to get what this was about. I didn't get this cover here, and I was okay. So this is a bunch of kids. I just started reading it. Like, I really didn't pay attention. I just saw it was a number one. Started reading it, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's a zombie apocalypse thing. And these kids, they're the only survivors. Got it. And I realized, it's not horrible. I mean, you don't know how much of this to take serious or not, because they do kind of play it for scares here or there, but ultimately they also try to play it for laughs. And if you do this well, it comes off like a Shaun of the Dead style kind of thing, and it would really mark it and make it good. Unfortunately, all it does is that the humor serves to undercut the horror of the piece, and the horror serves to undercut the humor, so really, you're not getting a lot of either, and the book ends up falling flat. Not bad, just flat. And this wouldn't even be near a problem if it was okay for us to have one of these kids be sympathetic. Let's have one of these kids be somebody who we could root for, or we could say, hey, that's a good kid, and, I want him to survive. That way we can kind of put ourselves in their shoes and hope that they live, instead of saying, which one of these little snot-nosed punks we're going to get picked off first, because I can't wait to watch them die a horrible bleeding death. And in all honesty, that's not anything you should really wish upon any of the children out there that are not your own. And I understand sometimes you just want to with the kids that are. Overall, though, I don't know. Like I said, it's a flat book. It's there. You probably you could probably check it out for yourself, see if you're going to get any entertainment, any enjoyment out of it. I wasn't offended by it. I've seen worse. I've seen better. I've seen worse and better in the same genre. Heck, there are scenes, but you can't, by the way, put the freaking Goonies poster on your cover and then not deliver. You know, come on. That is promising a whole bunch of meat on your Reuben and only getting sauerkraut. Alrighty, next up we're going to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, #1. I got to tell you, when I saw the preview, or what was it? No, it was Hawkeye. Hawkeye, where Falcon and Winter Soldier came up, I was like, God, they're going to put them together forever and a day until everybody thinks of them as Batman and Robin when that TV show comes out. And so they come out with their own book. I'm like, yeah, here we go. Here we go. We know what this is all about. So pick it up. It's actually fun. I got to tell you, it's a pretty fun book. It is simple as hell. At least they understand that these characters are who they are, unlike the Hawkeye book, where they're just saying, Clint, we suspect you murdered somebody because we've never met you in our entire lives. Here, yeah, they get together. They end up. Oh, by the way, this is something that's a bit of a trope. They get together and they see all these dead bodies. They end up getting attacked, by the way, by this kid who just proceeds to beat the teetotal hell out of them. And it's kind of funny because you're thinking, well, one of these guys with that arm, they've got super strength. And with the super soldier serum, they've got super strength, the superpowers. And what's going on? This kid's just bashing them around like he's never, like he's not even bothered by any of this. So I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? It's entertaining, but it falls apart given any moment's worth of thought to it. And they do it, of course. They've got to build this kid up. He's going to be a villain for him rather than, haha, I kick you, I punch you into your metal arm, and it does nothing because your arm can't feel my kicks and punch. Nope. No, he actually does damage when he kicks and punches into the metal arm. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. Fun, but leave your brain at the door. You're not going to need it. The cover isn't bad to Aquaman #58. It covers what's going on inside, except for Mera is not awake in the book. We have Arthur worrying about their daughter, and he's got a whole bunch of friends helping him watch it. Volko's he gets a message from Mera, and he realizes what he has to do, but we don't find that out until the ending. And most of it is basically politics. They've been playing politics now for a couple of issues, while they try to deal with Mera being unconscious and she's, really ill. Obviously, Aquaman can't take the throne of Atlantis, although, and he acts like he doesn't want to. I just think it would be awesome if he actually becomes the king of Atlantis again. I don't think they're going to do that because, why not make Mera their, girl power and all that. So it really is going to tick off a lot of people because the domestic side of Aquaman is shown as he's taking care of his daughter. And she had to have been out for a while because the daughter's walking around and she was only born in the last issue. So as they're all doing this kind of stuff, Orm, the Ocean Master, is going around and kind of sowing the seeds of dissension in the people. You're hungry, here's food, follow my army, and I will lead you to a better Atlantis and all that kind of stuff. And he's succeeding. There's even a scene with Dolphin in there where he actually is convincing her to turn against the royal families of Atlantis. Not a big action book, this one. It is, however, deep in the politics and the relationships and the characters, which I don't mind, for a few issues, mind you. And I've said this before. I've read 57. I've read This is 58. I've liked them both. Good job, Kelly, bringing it back up because I thought she was boring in the beginning of Aquaman. Not bad, just boring. Problem is I'm not going to recommend it. This is not a thumbs-up review. It's right there in the middle saying, while I like it, I am not yet ready to stake my reputation on this to tell you to go pick this up. Remember what happened? Last time I told you to pick up Aquaman, they got rid of Dan Abnett and brought us Kelly Sue DeConnick. What happens if I do that again? Think about that. Got to keep this to myself until I'm absolutely sure. Alrighty, and as always, I'm lining these covers up from the book that I like best to the one that I like least. Strange Adventures, I've got to say, is strong. We'll see if it can continue that. Aquaman, as much as I like it, I am putting that little asterisk on it, and we'll see how it does for the next few issues. I've got to tell you, as much as I enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier, it really does require you to leave your brain outside your body for a while to have fun. And I've got to say, as much as I did not hate this book, Kids is a little bit, I don't know, it's suffering from an identity crisis. That's what I would have to say. But the good news is there are no actual bad books this week. Just books that I felt meh about. But those are my opinions. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, click on one of the ones that are popping up around you. You might like those as well. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, making sure that the notifications are on for all for both YouTube and Google. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.